Now, of course, another big story from this week was the arrival of CM Punk, who has been drafted to Raw. Now, Edge was drafted to Smackdown, and it seems like a new place for him. But CM Punk, bit of a surprising choice, in my opinion, to go to Raw. Now, indeed, on SmackDown over the past few weeks, really, he hasn't impressed me in terms of storyline, but matches, always solid, and indeed that feud with Rey Mysterio, taken across several pay-per-views, cemented him more to me as a really good worker.
Yeah, I think once the Straight Edge Society collapsed, that was definitely the best thing for Punk. I think Straight Edge was more of a mid-card gimmick that he ended up in, probably lack of placing and people needed spots, but for him to be out of the Straight Edge Society is definitely the best thing that's happened to Punk in probably about a year and a half, maybe. Again, he totally separated himself by taking that mess off his face, and now some of the house photos from the house shows he's bleached his hair blonde. So I think going forward for Punk, new look, always revamp the character. He didn't get Matt Hardy's. Punk is going to replace Jericho, I think, as the big heel in Raw. And I think going forward into Rumble, Punk will be one to watch for Mania.
Indeed, and I was so surprised after what I felt was a slightly failed Straight Edge Society gimmick. Now, I say failed not in terms of CM Punk. I always felt he put it over, and indeed his promos, again, another great part of a guy who I consider to be quite good and, my opinion, rising all the time. And again, also the Office must be thinking that, because obviously it didn't bury him, and Straight Edge could have gone even worse than it did. I felt it was never fleshed out, and really we didn't know why these people were so storyline wanting to follow Punk. I mean, what was the reason? What was he offering other than some promos in the ring? So that's where it broke down a bit for me. But big show, that's all he was going to be doing on SmackDown. They can use him so much better on Raw, and I think the US title picture again has just had another great addition.
Yeah, they could put him in a series of programs, I think, over there. Once he's flying solo when Gallows is out of the way, I don't think anything really bad can go wrong for Punk. At least, he's not babyface, because I think it would have been down Evan Bourne territory going forward for Punk. So, I think good replacement, and keep us maybe somewhat entertained while Jericho's out of the picture.
I found it funny just a few weeks ago on SmackDown with Luke Gallows when he approached Punk after the split up of the Straight Edge Society, and indeed telling Punk that he was going to go for a beer tonight. Now, I mean, people have said that the ringmaster Steve Austin was nothing when he came in. Could Gallows do that? Could he go as far? I mean, who would have said it about Austin when he was first there, indeed with the $1 Million Man? So who knows? Gallows might have a future. I don't think it's on Raw quite yet, though.
Hopeful would be the word I'd use to describe that one, but worse things and crazy things, I suppose, have happened.
Yes, Straight Edge is now still part of Punk's gimmick, because the Titantron still had that logo, and you wonder maybe are they going to start to rebuild it again. Of course, with Nexus on Raw, you've got a stable, and if we're heading back to the direction of having multiple stables, I'd actually be all for it. I mean, a show could do with several factions, and it sort of changes up the one-on-one and tag team stuff when you've got more of a group of 5, like Fortune, like the EV 2.0. So maybe they're looking at Impact and saying, well, we need to have something a bit more and have more stables, and perhaps we're going to have all new members in Straight Edge. I think CM Punk, though, is going to benefit a lot from this. As you say, the hair changed a bit from the house shows.
Yeah, apparently, I saw it. I saw the picture. Yeah, it was just like a bleach blonde jive with it. But the beard is gone too, so it's kind of old school-ish Punk, I suppose.
I just wonder how much he hated or indeed didn't mind having his head shaved, and of course now he's growing it out, and it looks like he's probably heading back to the long hair look. I think it was different for me when he had the shaved head, and I think he started to look more like a guy out of UFC, and maybe a lightweight one at that.
Yeah, he just looked kind of like some dodgy jobber, really. More so when the beard wasn't as long, but yeah, it is good that they sorted that shit out, definitely.
The thoughts now of future US title matches are looking a lot more brighter, and indeed starting to interest me. I mean, I've seen how they've got Daniel Bryan, The Miz, and indeed Alex Riley not ready but also there, and also John Morrison. So, you know, with Punk in there, we've had a program in the past with Punk and Morrison. They took each other on a pay-per-view. Was that famous Night of Champions 2007, which I think was Vengeance then, and the Benoit incident, of course, took away from that match and what was a very good main event, once Morrison stepped in quickly on that night after all those events transpired. But yes, that's something I'd like to see. The Rockstar, the last perhaps of a Morrison babyface story, put him in a feud with Punk, maybe even a team of one day.
Team of, I don't know about. No, I don't know about a team of, but yeah, it would be a good feud. A lot of good people on that kind of side of things when it comes to the US title. I think they've got a good roster over there, but yeah, hopefully bright things for Philip.